Hello, this is Gaurav Nair and welcome to this Solid Principle series. Today, we will begin with defining the SRP, which is Single Responsibility Principle. We'll demonstrate some of the problems when classes have too many responsibilities, and then we will look at an example in the code that shows how a typical messenger application might be worked out that exposes a problem with responsibility. And later, we will refactor the sample application to apply SRP so it has a better and more maintainable design. And we will describe some related fundamentals. We'll begin with the single responsibility principle. There should not be more than one reason for a class to change. So this statement was given by Uncle Bob, where he says you should not have a reason, more than one reason for a class to change. Okay, we have a Wikipedia definition. The single responsibility principle states that every object should have a single responsibility. So that's why it is named as single responsibility principle. And responsibility should entirely be encapsulated by the class. So we'll take this example of the pocket knife. This particular pocket knife has been extended to a point where it can do nearly anything, except maybe fit it into your pocket. And as a poster demonstrate, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And same applies to our software design when we actually plan to design our classes. This relates to the concept of cohesion and coupling. We want to strive for cohesion, but also for loose coupling. Cohesion is basically how strongly your objects are related and focused are the various responsibilities of a module. And coupling is defined as the degree to which each program or module relies on each one of the other module, or classes relies on each of the other module. So as I mentioned, we should strive for low coupling and high cohesion. So basically, responsibilities when we talk about classes are defined as axis of change. So when it happens, requirement changes typically map to responsibilities. So when you have more responsibilities for any class, then there are chances that it will change. Okay, so when we say an object is doing multiple tasks, then there are multiple ways or multiple reasons which will reflect to the object to behave to the change, and that is what single responsibility principle avoids. So having multiple responsibility within a class couples together these responsibilities. The more classes a change affects, the more likely the change will introduce errors. So if you have content at one place, or your class is doing single responsibilities, it is owning a single functionality, then there are less places from where the error can be initiated. So since it is the object is doing one type of behavior, you know when the error comes, you have to deal it and or correct it there. But if multiple responsibilities are there, it will become difficult to trace back where the error has got introduced. So demo, we will see one example with too many responsibilities. So we have a UML diagram where I have a messenger app, and assume this my view controller has an API exposed which says get all conversations. Okay, and it internally has three methods, which one is request data from API, pass data, and save to DB, and then it will in return gives the data to view controller. So if I see my conversation data controller, it is actually doing three tasks. One is requesting the data from API, parsing the data, saving to the DB, and the fourth task basically giving back all the conversation back to the view controller. Okay, since all these operations are being happening within the class, it is not going in line with the SRP, single responsibility principle. How we can avoid this? I would like to show you in the code. So I have a conversation data controller, see this as a class and have a function which gets all the conversation. So it actually requests data from API, parse and create conversations from the object. So here the parsing is happening, and then you have another function. What it does is saving to the database. So when we spoke about coupling, it's very tightly coupled. We'll go down when we'll start getting into the different design principles which are left out by now. We will see like why we don't want to couple it and how it will avoid. So coming back to single responsibility principle, it says the task getting from API should be handled by a different class. So the class which is requesting data from API has a single responsibility of getting data from the API. And then you should have a separate factory class which will do your parsing and get you the conversation object. Okay, and when you wanted to save to the database, you use abstraction to save it to the database. Again, do it on the different class. Okay, and now if I go, how I will be having my structure is I will have different classes. One is Net API Core, Conversation Factory, and Core Data Controller, which is handling these are the classes, not function. So every class has a single responsibility. So now my conversation data controller will look something like this. It will have one method, and then this method will have an object to the specific class and getting the JSON data in the first place from the Net API core. Then conversations, it will have a conversation factory which will pass the data and then saving the data to the core database. If I'll go back and see this diagram where like conversation data controller being a single class having multiple functions, how we actually went with the SRP, single responsibility principle, we made the conversation data controller to get us the conversation, where the API responsibility we have given to different class, parsing the data to a different class and saving the data to the different class. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions related to SRP. I would love to assist that. And make sure to hit the subscribe button if you are interested in the same set of videos. Thank you very much. I would love to see you in my next tutorial. Till then, bye bye. See you.